reason I asked that because when you use the comparison to 280 had like 7 or 8 lanes to be able to do that.
Yeah, but they restricted a lot of left-hand turn movement. They restricted a lot of that. In fact, you can't, I don't know if there's anywhere left where you can cross all 4 lanes turning left anymore. They mean, you know, you can cross 2, but they've restricted it. That's, and probably that's a lot of your accidents is left-hand turns. Now, I don't know if the county would entertain it, but could be an option.
Okay, thanks. Also, Seth, Miss Elaine Carroll, we have talked about this numerous of times. And I want this council and mayor to be, this is something we need to address openly. She's having major issues in dealing with noise, music, and things on Saturdays, mornings. Chief, and also maybe, I don't know if the police department need to get in on this, or who all, you know, it would have taken or involved. But early in the mornings, she's dealing with travel long, noise, music, boombox, horns, all kinds of things. So I'm asking the council and whomever, is there some type of ordinance? What can be done, since we have all the department heads here that may have a hand in this? What do you do about noise in an area near the ball fields? And Seth, maybe he can address it a little bit better to explain to you. And I think I see Ms. Carroll here, and I don't know if she's going to address that now in the comment time or not, but this is an issue that we're having that we really need to talk about.
Want me to go?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay. So yeah, Mr. Lane has reached out a few times about noise. From our standpoint, when I see the email, we go down there and we do ask them to shut it down. I will be quite honest, I don't always see the email. Sometimes on weekends, I don't see it till that night or the next day. We are having signs that are made. Our noise ordinance says from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. is what's the range of ours. We're asking from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. We'll have the signs made. We'll also on the sign it's saying please do not play music any louder than 50 feet. In other words, the sound of the music doesn't go any further, traveling further than 50 feet out. We're going to hope that will deter some of that. You know, some of the times she's emailed me, it's been afternoon where, you know, I'll be honest, maybe there's a high school player out there, they bring their beatbox. We're not on site 24/7. So again, that's a little difficult to control on that end. You know, I understand her deal, what she's asking. You know, other than us just completely eliminating them altogether, I'm not really sure what we can do. And even if we say we eliminate them, even if we tell the tournament people, which we have, about trying to keep the volume down, it still may get past it, because they're not going to search bags, they're not going to do all that, and somebody may pull a speaker out and go. And again, we can't be at every facility all the time. So I don't know a perfect answer. I do agree that something does need to be done, but I don't know what that perfect answer is, to be completely honest.
Maybe our attorney can kind of give us some type of guidance.
Well, I will say that I have not actually looked at the ordinance that you have on the books now, so I'm kind of shooting from the hip. But it's kind of the general kind of ordinance that I would expect that you have, that most cities have. It's very difficult. I mean, unless you're talking, when you talk about, you know, a certain space, that's all pretty good. It just depends on how loud they get. I've seen some cities try to do some sort of decibel, like you have to have like some sort of machine to break the decibels, so it's objective. But I just know from practice and that it is hard to enforce one of these. I would be happy to take a look and see what ordinance that you have on the books and these concerns as far as what we can do to beef it up. But I just know from my past experience that unfortunately, unless you have some objective criteria to say that you have done this, therefore you violated reaching this much noise this far away, etc., it is very hard to enforce. But I will take a look at it. I just don't know the ins and outs of it as we sit here today.
Who would be the one to enforce that?
Well, I mean, technically, I mean, chief, I mean, I would have to look at it to, you know, to really see what the provisions are. If it's just simply a civil, is there criminal liability from our noise ordinance? I just haven't read it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we have the capability to write a citation. What we typically, now I've never dealt with a city facility, a complaint on a city facility. I think that's a little different. Typically, what we get is a loud party at night. If it's after 10 p.m., what we will typically do is go to the complainant first. And then if it is a nuisance based on the officer standing there and it's extremely noisy, we will go the first time and we'll ask them to turn the music off. If we get called out again, then we'll cite them. And that's typically the way we do it. Now, as far as, correct me if I'm wrong, you're talking about the ball field, noise coming from the ball field. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes, sir. Very
Yeah,
early.
I mean, we've had issues with swimming pools in neighborhoods and people complain about, you know, the noise, and you got a swimming pool there and kids are gonna make noise in the swimming pool. So, you know, when it's something like that, that's a tough one. I mean, what Seth is saying is asking people to comply, I think makes a lot of sense. We honestly, we really don't have the time or manpower to go and try to check boom boxes at the baseball field.
Seth, do we have any signage or anything like that about noise or anything? Or?
No, that's what I'm saying. We haven't been made right now to go out.
Okay.
Requesting, I mean, like I said, ours is 7 to 10. We're going above and beyond that. We're asking 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., you know, not to go past 8 p.m., not to be that late, not to start till 8 a.m. Go request.
And if somebody's doing, like, if they're not following your rules and you want us to come and, you know, like I said, first.
Yeah, we call you all the
Yeah,
time. Y'all come.
we'd be happy to do that if we have people available.
Now, like I said, when she reaches out and I do see the email, we go and ask, normally we do turn it down. It's just, I understand her aggravation. Every time she hears it, I'm sure it sets off her nerves. I don't doubt it one bit. You know, I just don't have the perfect solution for it. It's not like we're talking about one individual. You're talking about people coming in. It's not the same person over and over that we get to discuss or talk to. So it's just, to me, it's just a tough one to manage. Again, I don't blame her for a complaint. It's a tough one to have a perfect solution for.
Can you not eliminate it, period?
We could eliminate a period, and again, I'm saying we could. I'm saying it's still a chance to, you know, when they come in with those wagons, those people with the ticket booths, I've asked them all day, because I asked them about scooters, I asked them about dogs, you know, this and that. Hey, don't let them go past. Well, they're not going to look in there. You know, I'll be honest, we've got a sound system for my little girl's softball. It's about this big, you know. So they can sneak one in, put it up, plug it in, Mr. Lane could, you know, hear it, you know, and as soon as we hear about it, we go over there and tell them, hey, you got to turn it off. But I'm just saying, we can put signs, we can totally eliminate them, absolutely, especially on her side. I just want to be clear that even though you do that, there's still a possibility that it could happen.
So when the start of the season, when the teams approach you to come here to play, can you talk or can you give the coaches part of whatever is in your package that you give them about that? We are trying to control the noise.
Yes, we do that
and
to
ask
directors.
them
Yeah, we have
not to
several.
do it.
We have several rules that we monitor every year about scooters, dogs, you know, stereo. We send out before every fall and every spring before we start the season.
Well,
Yeah, just a couple of questions to Ms. Kelly on the budget sessions. We want to do those in August. Is that early? Earlier than normal?
We're about 2 weeks earlier than normal. I bumped it up a little bit because, you know, we usually try to pass it the first meeting in September, and the election is at the end of August. So I'm giving it out probably 2 weeks earlier than we've gotten it in the past.
I'm just thinking about it's campaign season. And we want to do a meeting every Monday night.
Yeah.
You know,
Which, if, you know, ideally the budget's passed in the first meeting in September because it needs to be passed before October 1 if there's any COLA or payroll increases. So, you know, this year the election seems later than it did 4 years ago. So I think, so in trying to get the meetings in, I'm not sure, because with the election being August 26th, that's only, 3 working days before we would pass the budget, so. I'm not sure. I mean, we could do, we've done day sessions before. I hesitated to do day sessions this year because I know there's people running for office that may want to attend the budget work sessions, and I'm not sure what their schedule is, so I left them at night this year. But if Monday nights are an issue, we could do some again during the day. That'd be up to the council.
All right, just a little bit of concern
Yeah.
on that. Downtown Main Street area, there's 3 portable lights down there. Who's paying for those? Main Street? or-
We own them. We own them. They take rental on the side, but we own
Still
them.
have the Cowan sign on the side of them, but they belong to the city.
They belong to us.
There's other, and then the power has been swapped over to the buildings on 25, is that right? To the underground?
They're supposed to swap over this, if the weather's permissible this week.
I just noticed some overhead lines gone from behind the building.
I missed it.
I'm not saying all of them are gone, it appears that some of them are gone.
Yeah, that was finished.
And then the other, last thing is the awnings along the back of those buildings. What's the status on that?
I know that, Main Street has a group of people that they signing a contract with now to come in and do the metal awning on the back of all the buildings. So that is in the making. They've got to get their, all of the paperwork for the permit. And then once they get the permit, then that's ready to go.
Is there some alterations going to be done to some of the buildings that have not had much improvement on the back?
Yes, that's
Before
correct.
this takes place?
Yeah,
Specifically the glass company roof?
it's coming off. That roof that hangs outside that building comes off. The new building goes in front of where the existing gutters is now. They coming off and new gutters is going on. The new structure sits right outside that gutter line out toward the pavilion, so. And then it goes up around 4 feet or so where you can't see the tops. Most of the buildings, that's where everybody's signage is gonna be, the parapet wall. And then they put the building name on it and everything they got there, so. It's a good looking drawing, it's close.
Okay, thank you. That's all I got.
Ernest? We just had a couple of things, Mayor, but, due to the time, I could ask a couple of questions when we get to that during our regular session, and it would be something that's on the agenda, if that's okay with you.
Alan, would you like to say?
Good positive things to you, Eddie. Thank you for what you do for us. Thank you for the rain that just passed through. Hopefully no one was injured or no damage occurred. We ask that you be with us as we move through the meeting to make good decisions for the citizens of this town or this city. Father, we thank you again for what you do in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, the first item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda.
I make a motion to approve.
Got a motion and a second for the approval. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next agenda. Motion for approval of the minutes of my regular meeting, our work session on June 2nd.
I make a motion for the approval of the minutes.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Kelly, you have some budget adjustments on the agenda?
I do. Those are similar to the adjustments we had for the general fund. It's just getting the GL lines trued up so we can start working on the operating budget.
Any questions for Kelly on that?
I wanted to comment a little bit on that. Got glad to see that, you know, our expenses outpacing those. I mean, the revenue outpacing expenses. That's a good thing. I'm just wondering about on the sewer side with the large fluctuation of numbers there. Is that have anything to do with that project that's going on behind Calera's Park or?
Here, what some of the fluctuation in the capital recovery had to do with that. And Bill also, he had some capital lines that he had not used all the money. It came in under bid, or he was able to save some money. And so we were just asking for some additional, to spend it on some additional capital too. But you're talking about the fluctuation in the revenue?
Yes, I just, you know, I know this proposal around 600.
Right. Yeah, the capital recovery lines, let's see what was the biggest. The tapping fees, we increased $152,000, and the capital recovery, $248,000. And I talked about that in the water board meeting also, because whenever we have a lot of building and development, you think it would just impact, you know, the building residential permit fees, but it has a large impact on our water and sewer, which is a positive. So yes, that's, you know, $152,000 and $248,000 we were able to increase. And when you looked at water and sewers the same way, in 2022, those numbers were very small because not a lot of development was going on. So when things are developed and being built, subdivisions, hotels, it has a great impact on the bottom line revenue. So it's definitely positive.
Any more questions on the budget adjustments? If not, I do need a motion to approve.
Make the motion we approve those requests.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2025-35 is a resolution before you that will appoint the city clerk as the election manager and the absentee election manager as well. Any discussion on that? Well, we do need a motion. A motion,
Second.
and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Resolution 2025-36. The MOU for the Shelby County to use the county election equipment. Any discussion on that? If not, I do need a motion.
I move.
Got a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ordinance 2025-05. This one I do need unanimous consent on. It's establishing the use of electronic voting counting devices.
I move for unanimous consent.
Got a motion and a second for unanimous consent. Now I need a roll call on this. Ernest?
Yes.
Heather?
Yes.
Kevin?
Yes.
I'm a yes.
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 So motion carried, so now I need a motion to adopt.
I make a motion to adopt.
I'll second.
Got a motion in a couple of seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Set on the agenda, you have the request for the fence that you and I have talked about, and something I think that we need to have in place before football season. Obviously, it makes it a little better on our policing and crowd control. I think we've heard Chief talk about that in the last football season, so this would be a permanent, more of a permanent fix to the orange temporary fencing, correct?
Correct, and it would match the same fencing we currently have.
That's on the agenda for that, capital request expenditure.
Except that this is something you've gotten with the chief on as far as you guys deciding on the best position of defense.
Yeah, it's SO officers must have gotten together on that, yes.
I'm not aware that it would have. I talked to Robbie today, Lieutenant Grant, he wasn't aware of exactly where it was gonna go.
Okay, we'll go back again, we have talked about it.
It's similar to where the orange fence was, just blocking the backside of those buildings, a big open lot back there, from my understanding.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it keeps kids from going back there, that'd be great. I just wasn't aware of it.
Any discussion from the council?
Do we know how much this is gonna cost?
I'm sorry, say it again?
$38,621.63.
The bid was on there, it's on
Oh,
the packet.
So that is our most, yeah, I know we talked about that and definitely want to get it done prior to the opening of the school football season again. But at this point, Mayor, do you think that is the top priority for us having the revenue right now to do that?
Based on dialogue that we've had up to this point, I think it was during the season, during the football season, in the early parts of the season, that was the most pressing issue, so we've, worked on some pricing, and I think you've done your best to get the need met, so now's the time for the council to decide if you want to do it.
Kelly, where's the money coming from?
The budget adjustments you guys passed last meeting increased the revenue over expense to $511,000. So the revenue over expense is $511,000. But you don't have to feel like we have to spend all $511,000 before the end of the year. The way we have it structured, you can roll that money over to the capital project, and that can be part of what you budget in the '26 budget. So there is, we've had over $500,000 in audit income come in that was unexpected. So that's definitely helped our revenue over expense.
Well, I personally have been to the field, and I see what happens on Friday nights during football season. I think the fence is needed.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the $38,621 and some change for the fence. And also Seth to make sure he gets with the chief and make sure we put it in the right location.
Got a motion?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like one. I skipped over the most important one. I see Miss Kara sitting out here in the crowd with us. We've got a, public hearing on the agenda for the completion of the CDBG grant that, you've been working on.
Yeah. Bill, do you want to talk? You want to give an
This
update?
is,
No,
this
okay.
is
No,
a
okay.
public hearing at this time.
Sure, it is a public hearing, and yeah, just some words. You have to do a public hearing for CDBG when you apply, and then when you close it out. And this grant is all done. We did sewer improvements in the southwestern quadrant of the city. The good news on this project, I think this may follow up with a comment earlier, because this doesn't happen very often, so I just want to memorialize this, is the CDBG portion came under budget, $44,589.71. And likewise, because there was city match associated with this one, the city saved $23,908. So this is money the city had committed to the project and doesn't have to spend because it came in under budget and it was able to be done. So I just wanted to share that.
You just about paid for that fence right there.
Yeah, there we go, yeah. I'm sure Bill will be happy with that, you know, he'll throw that in there. But yeah, so anyways, that's just an FYI, because I know with the way prices are, that doesn't happen very often. But it's just a public hearing tonight, you just gotta open the public hearing, close the public hearing, and then we'll be done. That's all I got. Thanks.
Anybody else need to speak on the the CDB block grant, anybody here for it, against it, or proud of it, or whatever? Anybody from the council?
I do, we're completing it, so when is the application deadline? I'm trying to see if this is the same, block grant that, DECA has that also supports project, areas that have, that need slum clearance.
Yeah,
That's the same one?
It's a great question. It is the same grant, but this is the last grant we're ever gonna receive like this. Because since we applied in 2023, y'all have joined what's called the entitlement in Shelby County. So now instead of the money going to DECA and giving it out to all the cities in the state, there's about $1 million goes to Shelby County. And then Shelby County gives out that $1 million into smaller chunks. We applied for one of those chunks earlier in the year, but unfortunately, because it was just an administrative error, that one wasn't eligible. So we can apply, but those grants are gonna be 100, 200,000. This grant was 500,000. And it was sort of the last hurrah that we got. So you'll never be able to apply for this one again. So it was really perfect timing. Did that answer your question?
It did also though, so are there any grants though out there for blighted conditions? Because citizens have been contacting me, in regards to their areas having, blight and what have you, wrecked cars and different things. And so, just wanted to find out, is there anything that can help low-income people, clear their property?
Is there a nuisance ordinance on the books in the city? There is. Okay, so that's good. Yes, I think we can if the council decided to go after the county money. Okay, that we could apply, we could do another grant. Instead of doing, what we did was a water grant last year. Instead of doing a water grant, we could do a grant for demolition and to tear those down. It would only be for willing property owners. That they could sign in, they could come in and demolish the houses. And, yeah, so that is an eligible project. We can apply to the county next year if that's one of their priorities and that's something the council wanted to do.
Right, because I know, that we have a blighted house on 22 that burned and all that debris. And I think someone is trying to clean it up, but it looks like it's a slow process. So,
That particular one's in the county,
oh,
it's
is
not
it?
in the city.
Oh, that's, okay.
Yeah,
That's why
we've
we've
learned our lesson.
we
It
haven't
has to be, yeah, we've learned our lesson. The project has to be within city limits.
Right, that's good. I don't know why I assumed somehow that was ours, because it does pass.
It's a tremendous eyesore.
It is.
We all know about this one particular one, but it's in the county. I don't know what kind of help we could give.
Well, if I could get the address, maybe I'll reach out to Christy at the county, and I can just let her know that this could be a project that, if they have some leftover money, it's a priority.
But
for
you're
this council.
saying that if people with low income that have blighted conditions on their property, that they're, say elderly or what have you, but they have low income and they don't have the means to, clear it or move things, that's something that we can ask the county to help us with?
Well, okay, so it's a CDBG grant, and you can use it for removal of slum and blighted houses. So the
Right.
house has to be vacant for over 6 months, and the grant would identify that house, and you'd have to come in and do an asbestos survey and make sure that, you have to jump through lots of hoops, as always. And then the grant would pay for just removal and clearing, and just planting grass on the property, as long as you had a willing property owner. They would also have to provide an easement, saying they were okay with it. And again, just to back up to, the county only gets about $1 million. So, and they want to give it out to several people. So I don't know how many houses we could tear down, for a smaller grant, for maybe 200,000 would be a good number. So maybe we can identify a few and put in that application. And I'll put it on my radar. That'll be our project that we can apply for next year. We can, keep making a list of those properties, and when you talk to residents that may be interested in having their property removed, keep an address or get it to me, and then we'll have a good database of places to start
Okay,
when we apply.
all right.
I have a quick question on that. Is it just applied structures, or could it be other issues that people are having with the property, such as water drainage, water runoff?
It couldn't do it on private property, but you could do a drainage project if it was in the right of way. But if it was on like a, you know, somebody had, yeah, on private property, you know, the only thing you can do is slum and blight, and you have to jump through all those hoops because you have to have a nuisance ordinance in place, and there's lots of things to do. Sorry?
You can't do it on easements where you're, like in a 15-foot easement and you got a drainage problem in there.
Sure.
And
Yeah, I think you can. I think it's, yeah, as long as it's a dedicated easement and it impacts a low to moderate income household too. It has to be an area, you can't do it in a fancy neighborhood.
This particular homeowner even told me they would give the easement,
Okay.
to that, to be done.
Got it. Is it, yeah, well, we can definitely, let's look at it and maybe we can come up with a multifaceted project to improve drainage and slum and blight in particular areas through the city. But yes, that would be an eligible project.
And it is,
Sorry?
and it is in the city.
It is in the city limits, so that's good. Is it low to moderate income as well? Okay, great. That's what else we need.
Who's considered low to moderate?
That's a really good question. There's different, and it's based on the number of people per household, and it's the median census number from 2020. But roughly, and it's based on, so there's a number for a one-person household, there's a number for a two-person household, but just sort of roughly, it would be under, for one person, 35,000 a year, two people, 40,000, three people, 43,000, you know what I mean? Not very much, 45,000 annual income or less would qualify for, and it goes all the way up to 8 people. And it's a number that changes every year based on HUD income limits, but not a lot of money.
I mean, you may have explained it, shared that with us before, but I'm just trying to remember. Does Shelby County, so how it works, Shelby County has appoints a committee or a board or whatever that decides what $1 million will be spent?
Yes, yes. Well, for example, I don't know if they change it from year to year, but last year they had the first step, which was a letter of intent, which was nice. It was just a one-page letter. It said, here's the project we want to submit. And then it made the cut. Then you got an invitation to put in the full application, which we did. We put in a full application, but then we were deemed ineligible because it was in Chittenden County. Unfortunately, it was clear, it was city water, but it was in the county, and it was just a misunderstanding on my part. We didn't understand the eligibility of it. Got kicked out. So, yes, and I think it goes to a committee, and I think Connie sits on that committee, and they review applications. And then this year, how many awards did they give out? Like 3 or just 2?
The new infrastructure projects is a priority.
Infrastructure projects were the priority. So 2 communities got it. And it's a fairly lengthy process, but they've done an amazing, I mean, they made it very easy. I wish ADECA would learn what Shelby County's done, because they've done such a good job.
So you're saying the two communities that was awarded to the king, they was here in Calera?
No, 2 communities in Shelby County. I think one was Vincent. Yeah, there was 2 communities that were awarded, that were low to moderate income. But we can definitely we want to apply for something that's in city limits and not in Chittenden County. Definitely want to make sure we do that.
And my final question then, just curious, that every municipality, every city and town in Shelby County come under this umbrella, or
Yes.
if everyone did?
Everybody did. I think everybody, yeah. So nobody in Shelby County can apply for the state CDBG in the future, unless you opt to get out of the entitlement. And like I said, Shelby County's done a great job. They don't take administrative money. They've sort of just done it as a service. So I think in the long run, it's probably better for y'all, but it just was wonderful timing that we got this last $500,000. It was just, couldn't have been better. Okay, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for everything you do for
Oh,
us.
thank you. I'm happy to be here. And if anybody has any questions about anything else, I'll be here till the end of the meeting. Okay.
I'm gonna close this, public hearing. If, I guess we need to take action on the project. We need to take any kind of action on the project as a formal vote.
You could, if you don't mind, you could just take an action, just have, authorize a motion to have the mayor sign any closeout documents. It's not on the agenda, but if y'all, or if you don't even have to make a motion, but if you're all okay with him signing whatever we need to do to get this grant closed out, that'd be wonderful.
I'd like to make a motion that we authorize the mayor to sign the documents it takes for this grant, please.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have Terrell Likes wanting to speak to us. You've signed in the back. And be brief and talk to us about what you want to say.
Put a little time in there. I'm here because I'm telling everybody I'm running for mayor, Calera. Just joking again. I'm running for mayor, guys. No, really I want to come out tonight. I wanted to thank all of the council and the mayor and everybody who came out to Waterford the other night for our meeting. It was very successful. Everybody kept class, followed the guidelines of no bashing of other candidates, just come and tell what you want to do or see for Calera. And they did that very well. I've had a lot of good feedback on it over the past week. A lot of people said they really appreciated us hosting that event because they hadn't had anything like that, so they could actually meet the candidates and see what they were about. Sorry for the few that didn't make it, but I did reach out to every council president on the board here today. We had a couple that did not link back with us, but again, everybody was invited, everybody was given the same opportunity. Even guys that running, that's few are here tonight, they came out. But again, it was a great show the other night. We thank everybody for what they did. And one of the things I wanted to bring up tonight is, I'm here also, I want to be a strong advocate in going forward actually for the police department as well. Because that was one of the main things we kept hearing over and over and over again for our police department budget, as far as needing to be matching other cities. I think that is very important because, I mean, me knowing the police chief personally, he's a great guy, always stand up, true to himself. I like the transparency that he's brought to the city with the police department. He keeps the citizens informed on what's going on. He's not a do something and hide kind of person. He puts it out there. That makes citizens feel good when you got that kind of leadership. And I want that to continue to where he can bring more officers in with that same mentality and grow this department so we can be just as big as any other department and make sure they're able to keep up with the demand and the need that the city needs here. But again, that's one of my things, and like I said, I'll keep pushing that as long as I have to. Again, I feel like I got a good voice in the city, and I want to use it for the right causes, not for every single cause that come up that makes no sense, but if I feel like it's the right cause, I'm going to try to push for it. But again, I want to thank you all for coming, and know that we'll have more events coming up, and I would like to invite you guys to them. We have a 4th of July event coming up, serving lunch around 11 o'clock. If you guys can make it as council, it'll be a great opportunity for you guys to come out, show your face. You can leave, come out and meet the people if you want to again. It's a great event. Like I say, several thousand people come out to it. And all of you guys are welcome. It's a free event for everybody. So we'd like to see you guys there.
Can I ask you a question, sir?
Yes, sir.
What time will this event start?
It'll start at 10 o'clock.
10
And
o'clock?
it'll run all the way up till about 9 o'clock at night. We have free food all day long, fireworks show right at dark. We usually serve like ice cream at night, stuff like that. But it's an all-day event, have a DJ, giveaway usually. But again, it's free, open for the whole city. We don't close it to nobody.
And I did report to you that I was on vacation
Yes, sir.
at the time you had the meeting, so.
And I made that clear.
At the next one that you have, so.
Yes, and I made that clear. And I think that was some misunderstanding on our Facebook page from a certain person. Tried to make it something that it wasn't, but I made it clear and told everybody else, mayor and everybody, you told me you was on vacation, you would not be there, that you would try to set up another time and place to come and do something for the neighborhood to meet everybody. So that was very clear.
Hey, let me ask you something on that.
Yes, sir.
And I was looking at the calendar. On July the 4th, if I'm not mistaken, is that going to clash with the first Friday, 4th of July event that we have downtown?
I'm not sure, but we've always done ours on the 4th. In the 8 years I've been doing it at Waterford, we've always done it, whatever the 4th falls on, we do it on that holiday, that actual day, we never move it.
Yes,
A lot of people are out of town too, that week, because it's a short work week.
is that the first Friday also, Dennis?
There'll be some overlap, but I think his starts at 10 and it ends around 9. So we start around 5 and end around 12:30. You could do both if you'd like.
Thank you. We got, next on there, on our guest moment, we got Elaine and Jack Carroll. I know that we probably heard some of this, some of your concerns already, so.
Yes, I'm Elaine Carroll, this is my husband Greg. We moved back to Calera in 2019. This has been an ongoing issue since I think I met with Seth in February of 2020. I've tried to handle it going directly through him, having previously served on Parks and Recs Board. Just out of respect, we met with the Parks and Recs Board a couple months ago. Felt good about it, and then this weekend woke up at 7 a.m. to air horns all day long, along with the battle of the music on the 3 fields that back up to our house. We did call the police. Police is understaffed. I get it. It's not an emergency. They can't get out there. I hate having to call the police for a noise issue. It's beyond frustrating to wake up to music and to go to bed hearing the music. And I'm talking over an AC unit, a washing machine and dryer, a dishwasher, our own TV. It will be so loud, it will rattle the windows. The dogs go and hide under the bed. The field, that's the main concern, is not even 30 feet from our property line. The only thing that separates that park and us is a silt fence and a retention pond. And that's the other issue that we have, is privacy. Just this weekend, we were out in the pool, neighbors came over in the pool. Somebody decided, out of all the green space in the city, they wanted to come in the little opening back there and hit golf balls while the girls were in the pool, while women were in the pool. Coincidence? No, it's not. There's no fence, there's no privacy. We have people from the park that come into our yard. We have people that play back there, that sit there and watch us in our yard, watch us in our swimming pools. They throw things. One time I was on the lawnmower, threw a baseball at me. They've yelled at us to turn off our car lights, like when I've come in from getting groceries and the lights shine in on the field. They'll stop an entire game, and umpires, people in the stands will yell at me to turn off my car lights. It's so not peaceful. It's very frustrating. I'm surprised I'm not in jail, to be honest with you, because there are mornings.
Where do you live, man?
Dunmore, I apologize, Dunmore Estates. It backs directly up to Eagle Sports Complex.
You said you moved there when?
We moved back in 2019. I grew up in this house. This was my family home, and after my mom passed away and then my dad passed away in 2018, we purchased the home from my parents' estate.
So, let me ask you this. Were there any difference as far as, have it always been that way, or did something cause a change?
The ballpark. There was supposed to be, so when my parents lived there and the ballpark was under construction, there was supposed to be a 25 to 30 foot buffer of the woods left, and there were not. They were clear cut all the way to the property line.
And you said there's no buffer of any sort.
The only buffer is we've got a brush growing up, and pine trees, little baby pine trees, and just like, what do you call that, privet hedge? Privet hedge, mimosa trees. But
Just
during the
things
winter,
that grow naturally.
yeah,
That have grown naturally over the last few years. It's not enough to provide any kind of protection from the golfer or anybody they could just walk up there and look at my 13, 14-year-old kids in the pool.
Do you have any suggestion as far as what would solve this issue as far as you working with the city?
Sure.
What can we do and what can you do? Where can we meet in solving this?
Well, it's been the same thing that we've tried to get done for the last 5 years. There's a fence with a gate that blocks anybody from the park to coming in that back area, especially checking out my wife and kids at the pool or anything else. And we've asked for it to be locked. And that's numerous. Two were just blue in the face. That's why we're here tonight.
I was actually
So your
told
request is for the gate to be locked?
for the gate to be locked or another fence to be put in, because it's a liability for the city as well, because there's a huge retaining ditch back there that has snakes, possums, copperheads, like poisonous, venomous snakes. It's very dangerous, and you have kids playing in this area every weekend that there's a travel ball tournament. And it's a liability. But you talked about spending $38,000 to fence in the back area of the football field. But I was told today, this morning, by Seth, that as far as the gate being locked, it's not required. The entire property is public park.
Is that not in a settlement area where the settlement pond is, Seth?
The creek that goes behind it, there's a big open area back there that, you know, and the deal is, when they hit balls over there, they gotta go get the balls. You know, they hit home runs, they go get it, this and that. We're not there to unlock the gate back and forth on the thing, and it's a public park, is essentially what that is. And so we can lock that gate, and that's fine. There's another access, if somebody wants to walk around the backside of the fence through the high grass, they can do that, to go there. We don't have a way to block the whole thing off.
But shouldn't we have some type of barrier there though, because she said they're knocking balls onto their property. So wouldn't that be a liability for us?
What about a privacy, a net on the fence, that adjoins the back of their property, let's say it?
The one on the left going to left center, there's not one going directly towards their property, no, because again, that's, the left to left center is blocking because again, there is that creek back behind there trying to stop it before it gets to the creek. You know, once you get to the right of it, there's open land, you know, that the ball can land in.
I'm gonna look at that, I don't think that we should be allowing people in our, areas where our settlement pond is with the water issue in there. Kids get off in that settlement pond area and something could happen to them. We don't need citizens in there. We should lock it. That's my thought of it.
There are multiple ways to get back there, to go behind the sport.
High school baseball field to the track and field.
Track and field, the new track and field, you walk right back into it, but a perimeter fence would be, I imagine, really, really costly, and elevation is,
Your
the house is
elevation-
lower, so.
Yeah.
Well, like a fence that butts up against, is the city fence, does it butt up against your property? How far would you say our city fence is off of your property?
It's the softball field, so it's
The
probably,
softball field fence is the fence.
it's the fence. We
So we
had,
have nothing over on,
We don't have a
close to the
perimeter
property
fence.
line, we have no fence in there.
It's a big ditch, it's a low area, you know.
we had a
Perhaps.
situation where a gentleman was trying to avoid the police department. This was 2 summers ago, and I happened to look out the window, and here he comes, and someone with no shirt, no shoes, looks like they've been rolling around in the mud, is headed towards the pool with my daughter, my niece, and my nephew. And I pulled a gun on him. I mean, I had no other choice. He was headed towards my kids. When I called, they immediately responded. They knew exactly who he was by his description. And I think a few days later, he was arrested by another county. But we have issues like that. And he was coming from the direction of the high school, from that big, huge retention bottom behind the track and field. So there's all kinds of issues. The music is the main thing, and then the privacy is the second. The music is, What we would like is no speakers, but then who's going to enforce that was the question. Tournament directors, you fine them. We go to ballparks all over the southeast, not one speaker in the whole complex. It can be done, it's just a
What's the
matter.
benefit of having?
Yeah, what's the benefit of
Why,
having
why
them?
do you have to have it?
I know we have speakers on our baseball field to announce the
No,
players and.
No,
Talk about the boom boxes.
The
The
rolling
coaches,
PAs.
the coaches are rolling, it's got speakers that stick around.
It's the
that
travel
rattle our windows.
It's not the high school.
What's the benefit of having them?
teams.
Why couldn't he, now he mentioned making signs. Why couldn't you put a sign up as you come in that says absolutely no speakers? We've been to those ballparks and seen them as we come in. And then behind the backstop of every single complex that makes up a ball field, the sign said, no speakers.
And you're asked to
Absolutely no
leave the
speakers.
park if you have a speaker.
Yeah, we can
We've been doing this for 5 years, asking him
enforce that.
for 5 years, and nothing's been done.
We have city workers that we pay that's on staff whenever we have ball games going on. Is that right, Seth?
We do, but they're not everywhere at all times.
Well, once they need to be around these fields that, you know, most of the time, somebody needs to ride these fields. When they hear them boom boxes going off, they need to go up to them and tell them, you gotta get it down.
Well, we'll
You
just-
know,
we'll just put a
where
sign
are
that
they
says-
at during these ball games? Where's our workers at? Do
They're
you
going-
know?
Yeah, they're going to different places, yeah.
So that should be their job, to help keep it down. Their job's to keep this kind of stuff down. They need to do their job.
Well, why couldn't we just restrict the boom boxes as they're requesting? Why do they have to have them anyway?
I think that's the start, is to restrict the
I'm for it 100%.
We will make signs for all of them that says, none are allowed.
They're not able to get on our loudspeakers.
No, they can't get on any of our stuff, no.
Okay.
And you guys don't have an issue with that?
And in all fairness, the women's softball, we've talked to them, and they've done a fantastic job by
Coach
moving
Lee.
their, top notch.
Yeah, Coach Blankenship.
Don't
She's
look
Great
been-
job.
She's
I would
been
hope,
super nice.
I would hope that
Mhm.
that the school and our facilities and our teams would be understanding about that.
They have been, they've been great. It's the travel ball teams on the weekend.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like boom boxes like from the 80s. I'm talking rolling PA systems, where they have to have a wagon to roll the speaker because the speaker's so heavy.
The one this weekend was loud enough that it was pumping from the soccer fields back to our house,
That was Thursday.
or Thursday, yeah.
From
It
the
was
soccer field?
From the soccer field
That was
area.
a church out there doing the soccer camp, okay.
And it was rattling the windows big time too, so it's not just the fields right behind our house, it's really the,
Yeah, it could be.
we don't have so much problems with the ones across the street because it's enough distance. But the ones on our side have been an ongoing, like, really big time nuisance.
We'll try to eliminate that problem.
And what about the fence? I mean, or privacy, something, keep the gate locked? I know the baseball team comes back there and works out, but I think Mr. Mobley had mentioned fencing that part in and even locking that so that people can't come back there.
We'll go look and
And
maybe
you're-
some evergreen trees would do the right thing too.
And we suggested that to the board as well, you know, if a fence is too expensive, some trees, shrubs, something to give us a little bit of peace and quiet and privacy. You're welcome to come anytime and come back there and look, and it's the elevation too, so the ballpark is higher than we are, and so it just comes right at our house.
You know, not to mention if anybody's walking back in that supposed to be restricted area, if they're walking through there, they're looking right into our living room. We're sitting there in the living room and there's people just walking by, because they're up higher, looking down into the house.
It's closer to our home than our front street is.
I'll see if we can take some corrective action. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for listening, thank you.
That's all I have on my agenda.
I'd like the motion to adjourn.